Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has condemned the recent protests by the Nigeria Labour Congress, warning the labour movement to know that it is not the only voice of the people. He spoke at the commissioning of the Lagos Red Line train connecting Agbado to Oyingbo. The Labour Union had on Tuesday staged a protest over the hardship in the land, as well as the refusal of the federal government to implement agreements reached with the unions. But Tinubu came hard on the Labour in the course of his remark, saying Labour Union should understand that despite its acclaimed rights and freedom, it cannot fight an administration which is just 9 months old. And to unpack this, I'm joined by Zariyi Yusuf, the National Coordinator of Middle Belt Patriots. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Thank you so much. It's glad to be here.
Let me start by asking you what your thoughts are on the response of the president to Labour, saying this is not the only voice of Nigerians.
Well, he is right in a sense. The Labour Congress is not the only voice of Nigerians. But then, in another way, I think the statement he made was let him throw a jab at the NLC. So everything looks like a joke. Nothing basically looks like something that matters. It doesn't basically strike his conscience or, touch, it doesn't prick his heart. So that was him trying to let them know, Odeshi, no shaking. It's not exactly as if I give a damn about what you're doing. But I must first say that personally to me, I've got my reservations with what, the Labour Congress is doing. But to look at people basically trying to call the attention of government with regards to the suffering, Nigerians are in, and you feel you politicize everything. I mean, to a large extent, he even said that they should go and prepare for 2027. In other words, whatever they find, whatever they see, whatever they receive, basically they bargained for it. So it's not exactly as if there is anything that is going to change. He will not adjust any policy. He will not reverse anything. The message is simple and clear. This means nothing to me. I don't identify in any way with whatever it is you stand for. That basically is what I think he is trying to tell Labour Congress. And then to a larger point, telling them they are not the voice of the people. Basically, well, not to politicize things, but it's not exactly as if his position in the presidency is representative of the people's will to a large extent. So when he says that, I do not really blame him. Whoever it is that got him there is basically those he could listen to. So not basically the masses. They are not the masses. So their plight is absolutely none of his business, if you'd ask me. That basically is what he was saying in that short sentence.
So with such comments from the president, as you have rightly interpreted, what should be the disposition of Labour going forward?
First of all, I think with regards to Labour, it would be better that the NLC as an organized body melts itself, subsumes itself into the pain and the agony of the masses. As an organized body, Labour has a track record of not having its end met for whatever reason, I do not know. But first, let's begin with basically the first step that, Tinubu took when he was sworn in. Okay, something PMS selling for about 180 or 85 is now about 640 or 650, and in some places 690. And Labour was there too. Nothing happened. A whole lot of things. Look at what's happening to the Naira, all of that. So there are some of us who believe, to a large extent, that Labour itself might, whatever it is they are staging might just be a gimmick of the same presidency to make a fool of Nigerians.
If I may just...
An example is how comfortable are you with buying a liter of petrol for 614 naira in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It doesn't make sense. Where was Labour then? So if you would ask me, Labour should subsume itself in the plight of the Nigerian masses and
just to
hope.
Yeah, permit me to just chip in there. let me just quickly chip in the apologies for butting
Okay.
in. When you say labor should feel the pain of the masses, I'm wondering what you mean in clear terms, because labor, so to speak, is empathizing with Nigerians, and that's why they have called for strikes. I mean, so when you say, or protest, so when you say labor should feel much more the pulse of the average Nigerian, what do you mean in clear terms?
What I mean in clear terms is basically coming from my own suspicion that it's more or less in certain quarters, maybe certain players in the Labour Congress, it's basically a gimmick of the government. Like I said, we have known Labour to always be at the receiving end, to not have its end met, primarily. So at the end of the day, what will happen is that they would say they had held a meeting, possibly with the minister of this or that, and they came to this agreement, and they will continue with their businesses. Those of them that are petroleum marketers will go on to it. Those of them that are employers of all kinds of labor will go back to it. And everything continues as it is. And then a couple of months later, they will rear their heads and say something. So to a large extent, whatever it is that has been the agitations of that organized body, I'm saying, at least for the past 2 decades, we have always known they've never gotten their ends met. There has never been a policy the government took and Labour Congress got it to reverse it and all of that. So to a large extent, to somebody like me and most masses in Nigeria, it looks like whatever protest they stage, even though it comes in the name of identifying with the masses of Nigeria, it looks more like a gimmick of the government, or the government hoping, let them go on strike, let this organized body go on strike, we know what to do. So the people will relax believing they are doing it on our behalf. So when I say identify with the masses, I'm saying subsume that structure, that traditional structure called labor, let it continue to exist, but come back and be an ordinary Nigerian. And we could put our heads together. And when we demand accountability from the government, when we demand to take our country back, when we demand that we are no longer going to sleep hungry or get killed by insecurity or get our economy messed up, definitely somebody will answer and pay for it.
Well, thank you so much for your time and expertise on the news. Zariyi, Yusuf, thank you once again.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being here.